As you settle into your cozy bed, let your mind drift gently, like a soft breeze gliding across the ocean's surface. Close your eyes and take a deep breath, inhaling the sweet, salty air of the sea. Imagine the sound of the waves, each one rolling in, steady and soothing, as if the ocean itself is singing a lullaby, calling you to a world of dreams. The sky above is painted in hues of lavender and soft orange, with the last light of the day fading into the horizon, leaving behind a peaceful calm. A gentle breeze brushes past you, rustling the leaves of the tall palm trees along the shore. The air is warm and comforting, with a hint of salt that seems to carry whispers from a distant, forgotten time. It's a perfect evening where the world slows down, and the only sound you hear is the rhythm of the ocean's breath. With every wave that crashes softly upon the sand, you feel yourself becoming lighter, your worries melting away like sand slipping through your fingers. The night is still, inviting you to relax and let go, as the ocean wraps you in its embrace. Tonight, we journey together to a place of ancient wonder and mystery, where myths and history entwine beneath the calming sounds of the sea. A place where a magnificent city, lost to time, still rests beneath the waves, waiting to share its secrets with those who dare to listen. So, with the ocean's breeze on your skin and the peaceful lull of the waves in your ears, allow yourself to drift deeper into the story and into sleep. Long, long ago, beneath the vast expanse of the shimmering ocean, there lay a city so magnificent, it was said to be the very jewel of the world. This was Atlantis, the fabled city radiant with wisdom and beauty, where the land met the sea in perfect harmony. It was a place unlike any other, built by people who understood the secrets of nature, the ebb and flow of the tides, and the ancient mysteries of the stars. Atlantis was not just a city, it was a marvel. Gleaming towers made of marble and gold reached up to the skies, their spires shimmering like sunlight dancing on the water. Intricate temples dedicated to gods and goddesses adorned the city's heart, each one a work of art, glowing with the light of eternal knowledge. The streets were lined with flowering gardens, and the air was rich with the scent of rare flowers from every corner of the world. The people of Atlantis were wise and peaceful. They lived in harmony with the earth, understanding its rhythms and honoring the forces of nature. The city's grand libraries contained scrolls of knowledge from every civilization, ancient wisdom passed down through generations. Scholars and philosophers would gather in the open air, sharing ideas under the shade of towering trees, while children played in the sunlight, their laughter echoing through the streets. The ocean that surrounded Atlantis was as much a part of the city as its buildings and people. The water was so clear that you could see the colors of the coral beneath the waves, and the creatures that swam through it glimmered like living jewels. The people of Atlantis sailed gracefully across its waters in ships that seemed to glide effortlessly, as though the sea itself was guiding them, and the horizon stretched out forever, full of untold adventures. At the heart of this magical city stood the grandest palace of all, a place of unparalleled beauty and strength. The king and queen, wise rulers who cherished peace and knowledge above all, lived there. Their throne room was a dome of crystal, through which the stars could be seen at night. Their crown was not of gold or jewels, but of light, crafted from the wisdom and spirit of the land, the sea, and the stars themselves. But the most wondrous thing about Atlantis was its connection to the very heart of the ocean. It was said that the city's knowledge and power came not from its gold or its stone, but from the deep waters that surrounded it. The Atlanteans had unlocked the mysteries of the sea, learning to communicate with it, to listen to its secrets, and to use its gifts in ways no one else could. As the story goes, Atlantis was not just a city. It was a living, breathing testament to what humanity could achieve when it lived in balance with the earth, the sea, and the sky. A city where dreams became reality, where wisdom flowed as freely as the tides, and where peace reigned eternal under the watchful gaze of the stars. And so, under the calming embrace of the ocean breeze, Atlantis lived on in the hearts of those who believed, waiting patiently for the time when it might rise again. As the ocean's gentle whispers grow softer, you begin to feel yourself drifting deeper, as if the very waves themselves are guiding you towards something magnificent. With every passing moment, the world around you fades, and the air thickens with the scent of salt and adventure. In the distance, something shimmers, a glimmer beneath the water, a flicker of light beckoning you closer. You feel the cool embrace of the sea as you are gently carried toward it, weightless and free. Beneath the surface, the world of Atlantis slowly comes into view, its shimmering edges now becoming clearer with every breath you take. The water is so clear that you can see all the way to the ocean floor, where vibrant corals and exotic fish dance in the currents like fleeting memories. The first thing you notice is the glow. The city is bathed in a soft, golden light, as if the very stones of Atlantis are radiating warmth and wisdom. The buildings rise from the sea like ancient sentinels, their columns adorned with intricate carvings of forgotten creatures and symbols that tell stories of a time long past. Their marble surfaces gleam with an ethereal glow, reflecting the sunlight that pierces through the water like delicate threads of gold. As you float closer, you see the streets of Atlantis, not paved with the ordinary stone you might expect, but with smooth, iridescent tiles that shimmer in every color of the rainbow. They seem to hum with life, each step you take echoing the pulse of the city itself. The air is thick with the scent of flowers in full bloom, rare blooms that have never been seen anywhere else, their petals glistening with drops of dew as if they, too, are part of the dream. The people of Atlantis, though not many in number, are radiant with the glow of wisdom and peace. They move through the city with a grace that seems to defy time, their faces peaceful and content, as though they've unlocked the very secrets of existence. They walk without haste, their eyes reflecting the calm serenity of a life lived in perfect balance with nature. In the heart of the city, you spot the grand temple, the towering structure at the center of Atlantis. Its steps are wide and welcoming, carved from stone that seems to pulse with life. The temple is crowned with a statue of Poseidon, the god of the sea, his trident raised high as though to command the ocean itself. His gaze is distant, filled with both wisdom and mystery, as though he knows the city's secrets and guards them with gentle hands. As you drift closer still, you hear the soft murmur of voices, but there are no hurried conversations here, only the slow, rhythmic flow of wisdom shared among the people. The sound is like the soft rustle of leaves in the wind, a calming, natural rhythm that carries no urgency, only the peaceful assurance that time itself does not exist in this place. The vision of Atlantis is not just a city, it's an experience, a living, breathing masterpiece of harmony between land, sea, and sky. Every building, every street, every corner of this enchanted place is a reflection of a civilization that had mastered the art of peace, prosperity, and wisdom. And as the soft tide of the ocean continues to guide you through this vision, you begin to realize that Atlantis isn't simply a place lost to time. It is a dream of what the world could be, of what humanity could achieve if it lived with respect for nature and the deeper currents of life. And just as the vision begins to feel more tangible, more real, you sense the pull of the water once more. The city, with all its shimmering beauty and wisdom, begins to fade into the distance, not gone but hidden, resting beneath the waves, waiting patiently for a time when it will rise once more. As the soft rhythm of the waves begins to quieten, you feel yourself drifting gently, floating between the realms of dream and reality. The vision of Atlantis, once so vivid and full of life, now fades into the depths of your mind. But though the city's towering spires and glowing streets are no longer before you, a lingering sense of something greater remains. There is a feeling that all is not lost, that Atlantis is still there, waiting beneath the ocean, its mysteries preserved in the deep. The ocean's whispers begin to take on a new tone, a hopeful melody that stirs your heart. It is as though the waves themselves are sharing a secret, a promise that Atlantis, though hidden, is not gone forever. The city may have slipped beneath the sea, swallowed by the tides of time, but its spirit still lingers in the currents, carried on the breeze, and in the very depths of the ocean's heart. Some believe, and the ocean murmurs softly of it, that Atlantis will one day return. The time will come when the world will be ready to rediscover the lost city, to uncover its treasures, not of gold and jewels, but of wisdom, peace, and a way of living in harmony with the earth, the sea, and the stars. When that time arrives, the city will rise from the depths, its gleaming towers returning to the surface, bathed in the light of a new dawn. In the quiet moments between the waves, you hear the voice of hope, quiet but steady, like the gentle ebb and flow of the ocean itself. It whispers that the heart of Atlantis still beats within the soul of every person who dreams of a better world. It is a reminder that, just as the ocean holds the memory of Atlantis, so too does the earth hold the potential for greatness. That the knowledge of the ancient city, the wisdom of its people, is not lost, but merely waiting to be unlocked again when the time is right. And so, as the ocean laps softly at your feet, you are reminded that the story of Atlantis is not just one of loss, but one of enduring hope. For the city's legacy lives on in the hearts of those who seek peace, who dream of a world where nature and humanity exist in perfect balance, where wisdom flows like the tides, and where the promise of a brighter future guides the way forward. The return of Atlantis is not a matter of time, but of spirit. The city's resurrection will come not through a great upheaval, but through the quiet transformation of the world, one person, one dream at a time. It will rise when the hearts of humanity are ready, when we once again understand that we are all connected, not only to the land we walk upon, but to the oceans that sustain us and the stars that guide us. With this thought, you are filled with a deep sense of calm, knowing that though the city is hidden beneath the waves, its spirit is eternal. And as you drift towards sleep, the ocean's gentle lullaby carries you away, leaving you with the comforting knowledge that Atlantis is not gone. It is simply waiting for the right moment to return, bringing with it the hope of a better tomorrow. The waves softly whisper their promise. One day, Atlantis will rise again. And with that, you feel yourself slip deeper into dreams, carried by the sea's eternal promise of hope. As the story of Atlantis fades into the soft embrace of the evening, the gentle hum of the ocean's waves continues to lull you, like a comforting whisper from the deep. The night air grows cooler, and the breeze, now a tender caress, wraps around you like a blanket, soothing your mind and easing your body into a state of calm. The sea's eternal rhythm, steady and unhurried, guides you into a peaceful slumber, its lullaby woven with the dreams of a city that still lives beneath the waves. You feel weightless, as if the very ocean has lifted you into its gentle arms, carrying you toward a place of rest where time no longer matters. The mysteries of Atlantis are no longer distant. They have woven themselves into the fabric of your dreams, where they will live on. A soft murmur in the background of your thoughts, always waiting, always present. With every breath you take, the ocean seems to grow quieter, its deep voice now a mere murmur in the distance. The stars above twinkle softly, like distant beacons, guiding you through the night, reminding you that even in the quietest moments, the world is full of magic and wonder. And as you surrender to the peaceful embrace of sleep, you know that the ocean will watch over you, its rhythm keeping time as you drift deeper into a world where dreams and reality intertwine. Let the gentle waves carry you, as they have carried so many before. Let the story of Atlantis rest in your heart, not as a legend lost to time, but as a promise of hope, a reminder that even the most forgotten places can one day rise again. For now, let go of the day's worries, close your eyes, and allow the ocean's embrace to guide you into a deep, peaceful sleep, where dreams of distant lands and ancient cities await. Drift softly, like the waves on the shore, and rest in the knowledge that the ocean will always be there, whispering its timeless stories, ready to carry you on another adventure when you awaken. Good night, and may the spirit of the sea always be with you. The village lay nestled in a quiet valley, embraced by rolling hills that stretched as far as the eye could see. Here, life followed a gentle rhythm, each day beginning with the sun kissing the dewdrops on the fields and ending with the soft glow of lanterns dancing in cottage windows. Yet, there was something about the wind in this village. It never simply blew, it whispered. The wind carried secrets, or so Leela believed. A curious child with a heart full of wonder, she spent her days chasing its voice through the meadows and letting its stories fill her imagination. Unlike the other villagers, who dismissed the breeze as nothing more than nature's hum, Leela knew there was more to it. She felt it in the way it brushed past her cheeks, playful yet purposeful, as though it was trying to say something only she could hear. One cool evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of lavender and gold, Leela sat by her window, gazing at the hills bathed in the soft light of the setting sun. The wind had been particularly restless that day, swirling through the trees and making the leaves dance in a rhythm she couldn't quite decipher. As she rested her chin on her hands, a faint sound reached her ears, soft, melodic, almost like her name carried on the breeze. Leela, her heart skipped a beat. She leaned closer to the open window, her wide eyes scanning the horizon. The whisper came again, stronger this time, urging her to listen. Before she could question it, a shimmering feather, unlike anything she'd ever seen, floated down and landed delicately on her windowsill. It glowed faintly, its edges sparkling as if woven from starlight. The wind swirled around her, carrying a message only her heart could understand. Come. And so, with the feather clutched tightly in her hands, and her mind alight with wonder, Leela stepped out into the night. The whispering wind had called, and she was ready to follow it wherever it might lead. The moon hung high in the velvet sky, casting a silvery glow over the sleeping village. Leela's footsteps were soft as she ventured into the cool embrace of the night, the glowing feather tucked securely in her palm. Ahead of her, it floated and swayed, as though it had a life of its own, guiding her steps beyond the familiar paths she knew so well. She followed the feather through the village outskirts, past the fields where tall grasses swayed like waves beneath the moonlight. The wind wrapped around her like an invisible guide, whispering soft melodies that filled her with a strange but comforting sense of purpose. As she reached the edge of the forest, the trees seemed to part for her, their shadows forming a pathway dappled with moonlight. Leela hesitated, a flicker of doubt crossing her mind. Yet the wind nudged her forward, carrying with it the faint scent of blooming flowers and the promise of something magical waiting just beyond. Deeper into the forest, the world began to change. The air felt charged with energy, as though the trees themselves were alive with anticipation. Suddenly, a flicker of light appeared ahead, tiny, bright, and darting playfully through the trees. It drew closer, revealing itself to be a firefly, its light glowing brighter with every beat of its tiny wings. Lost are we? The firefly buzzed in a cheery voice. Startled but intrigued, Leela tilted her head. Not lost, following. The firefly laughed, a warm, tinkling sound. Ah, a seeker. You don't see many of those. Name's Spark. Mind if I tag along? It gets lonely in this forest, and you seem like you're going somewhere interesting. Before Leela could reply, Spark zipped around her head and added, and besides, you'll need a light if you want to keep up with that feather. The feather fluttered onward, and Leela followed, now with Spark lighting her way. The forest grew denser, but with the firefly's glow, the path remained clear. Just as she began to wonder where the feather was leading her, a rustling sound came from the bushes ahead. Out stepped a fox, its fur the color of autumn leaves and its eyes glinting like polished amber. It stared at Leela with an expression that was almost human, as though it could see right into her heart. "So, the wind has chosen another," the fox said, its voice deep and measured. "You'll need more than courage to complete this journey, but something tells me you have what it takes." "Who are you?" Leela asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I am Ember, a guide of the whispering wind," the fox replied, sitting back on its haunches. "I know its secrets and its trials. If you are willing, I will help you." Leela nodded, sensing that the fox's presence was no coincidence. With Spark flitting beside her and Ember walking calmly at her side, she felt braver than she had before. The journey continued, and the deeper they ventured, the more the forest revealed its wonders. A hidden waterfall sang a melody that seemed to harmonize with the wind, and flowers glowed faintly under the moonlight, their petals shimmering like tiny stars. Through it all, the wind's whisper guided them, growing stronger with every step. Leela's heart swelled with anticipation, knowing she was heading towards something extraordinary, something only the whispering wind could show her. As the forest began to thin, Leela and her companions emerged into an open expanse of rolling hills that seemed to stretch endlessly. The air here was calm, carrying a soft, melodic hum that resonated deep within her chest. Each hill was crowned with wildflowers swaying gently in the breeze, their colors so vibrant they seemed to shimmer. The valleys between the hills were serene, dotted with crystal-clear streams that reflected the starry sky like mirrors. "This is the Whispering Hills," Ember said, his voice steady yet reverent. "The wind is strongest here, weaving stories and lessons into its song. But don't let the beauty fool you. These hills test more than your strength." Leela gazed in wonder, feeling an odd sense of peace mixed with anticipation. As she began her ascent up the first hill, the wind carried with it snippets of voices, like fragments of long-forgotten tales. Each hill brought a new story carried by the wind. The wind swirled around Leela, slowing her pace and testing her resolve. She felt tempted to rush, but the wind whispered, "Great journeys are not about speed, but steady steps." By embracing the moment, she found herself stronger as she reached the top. On another hill, she encountered an injured bird with a broken wing. Guided by the wind's gentle urging, she crafted a sling from her scarf and carried the bird to safety. The act of kindness filled her with warmth, and the bird left her a small feather, glowing faintly like her own. As darkness gathered, a sudden gust of wind whipped into a howling storm. Shadows danced and shifted, and fear gripped her heart. Ember stood firm beside her, saying, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it." With Spark's light leading the way, Leela pressed on, and the storm faded as quickly as it had come. Between the hills lay a vast valley shrouded in a thick, swirling fog. As Leela descended, the once clear whispers of the wind grew faint and scattered, replaced by murmurs of doubt. The path ahead seemed uncertain, the glow of her guiding feather dimmed, and even her companions grew quieter. "You don't belong here," the fog seemed to hiss. "Turn back. This journey is not for you." Leela's steps faltered, her heart heavy with uncertainty. The peaceful beauty of the hills now felt like a distant memory. For the first time, she questioned why the wind had chosen her and whether she was capable of seeing the journey through. But then Spark's light flared brighter, and the little firefly buzzed defiantly. "Don't listen to that nonsense. You've already come this far. The wind doesn't choose just anyone," Ember added, his voice calm yet firm. "Every traveler faces this valley. It is the weight of your own doubt, but you are stronger than it. Trust the feather. Trust the wind." Drawing a deep breath, Leela closed her eyes and focused on the feather's faint glow. She let the wind's whispers, no matter how faint, guide her steps. Slowly, the fog began to lift, and the murmurs of doubt faded into silence. Beyond the fog, the valley transformed into a tranquil meadow with a clear stream running through its center. The wind returned, stronger now, carrying a comforting melody that seemed to praise her perseverance. Leela knelt by the stream, seeing her reflection ripple in the water. The feather in her hand glowed brighter than ever, its light dancing across the surface. In that moment, she felt a deep connection to the wind and understood its message. The journey was as much about discovering her inner strength as it was about reaching the destination. With renewed determination, Leela rose to her feet. The hills ahead beckoned, their peaks glowing faintly in the moonlight. She was ready for whatever lay beyond, knowing the wind would guide her through. The final hill loomed before Leela, its peak shrouded in a gentle, golden mist that shimmered under the moonlight. The wind surged around her, its whispers now clear and melodic, urging her forward with a sense of excitement. Each step felt lighter, as though the very earth beneath her feet was lifting her towards something extraordinary. As she crested the hill, the sight before her took her breath away. A vast plateau stretched out, its edges disappearing into the horizon. The ground sparkled as though it were made of crushed starlight, and pools of crystal-clear water reflected the skies in perfect detail. Above her, the golden mist swirled gently, carrying faint, glowing orbs that danced in harmony with the breeze. The air felt alive, resonating with a symphony of soft hums and chimes. "This," Ember said, his voice filled with awe, "is the haven of whispers, the heart of the wind's magic." Leela stepped forward, her glowing feather vibrating gently in her hand. Spark buzzed excitedly around her head, his light flickering in rhythm with the orbs above. "Why was I brought here?" Leela asked, her voice barely louder than a whisper. As if in response, the wind gathered around her, forming a soft spiral of air that lifted the glowing feather from her hand. The feather floated upward and merged with the golden mist, sending a ripple of light across the plateau. From the mist emerged a figure, shimmering and ethereal, formed entirely of wind and light. "You followed the call," the figure said, its voice like a melody carried by the breeze. "Many hear, but few listen. Fewer still trust. You have shown patience, kindness, and courage, all qualities of a true seeker." The figure extended a hand, and the wind coalesced into a small vial filled with swirling golden light. "This is the gift of the wind. It holds the power to inspire dreams, to kindle courage, and to guide those who are lost. Take it, for you are now a keeper of the whispers. Your journey does not end here, Leela. It begins." Leela accepted the vial, feeling its warmth radiate through her fingers. The moment she touched it, she felt a surge of energy, as though the wind's magic had woven itself into her very being. "Share what you have learned," the figure continued, its form beginning to fade back into the mist. "The wind will always be with you, guiding you when the path seems unclear. The golden mist began to lift, and the plateau shimmered brighter as though it were bidding her farewell. Leela turned to Spark and Ember, her heart brimming with gratitude. "Ready to go home?" Ember asked, his amber eyes glinting with pride. "Yes," Leela replied, clutching the vial close to her heart. "It's time to share the magic." With the wind at her back and her companions at her side, Leela began her descent from the magical haven, the symphony of whispers following her every step. She knew her village awaited, but so too did new adventures, for the wind's call was endless, and her story had only just begun. The journey back to the village was unlike anything Leela had imagined. The once dark and mysterious forest now felt alive and welcoming, its trees whispering encouragement as the wind rustled through their leaves. The glowing vial in her hands radiated warmth, lighting her path as though it shared her excitement. Spark darted ahead, casting playful flickers of light on the trail, while Ember walked with quiet pride beside her. When the village came into view, bathed in the soft hues of dawn, Leela felt a surge of emotion. The familiar cottages, the winding paths, and the sleepy fields seemed to shine with a new brilliance. Yet, as she stepped into the village square, she realized it wasn't the world that had changed, it was her. The villagers, roused by the sound of the wind picking up speed, emerged from their homes, their curiosity piqued by the sight of Leela and her glowing vial. Whispers spread among them, their faces a mixture of wonder and disbelief. "What is that light?" one asked. "Where has she been?" murmured another. Leela raised the vial high, and as its glow reflected in their wide eyes, she found her voice. The wind carries more than whispers. It carries dreams, courage, and stories waiting to be heard. I followed its call, and it led me to a place where magic lives and lessons bloom. "This light," she said, holding the vial close, "is not just mine. It is for all of us." The wind swirled through the village, playful and vibrant, brushing against the villagers as though affirming her words. Children laughed and reached for the breeze, while the elders closed their eyes, their faces softening as they seemed to feel the truth of what Leela had shared. In the days that followed, the transformation in the village was undeniable. The people began to listen more closely to the wind, finding comfort in its whispers and inspiration in its melodies. Leela shared stories of her journey, describing the trials of the hills, the beauty of the magical haven, and the lessons she had learned along the way. She planted the glowing feather in the center of the village square, where it took root and grew into a tree with leaves that shimmered faintly. Even at night, the tree became a gathering place, its gentle glow a reminder of the magic that lived within the wind and within each of them. Leela, now known as the Keeper of Whispers, continued to feel the wind's call. Though she stayed in the village, she knew her journey was far from over. The vial remained with her, its light dimming slightly as its magic spread into the hearts of those around her. On quiet nights, as she sat beneath the shimmering tree, she would hear the wind whisper her name once more, carrying promises of new adventures. And with a heart full of courage and wonder, she would close her eyes and listen, ready for wherever it might lead her next. The wind's song was eternal, and Leela knew she was now a part of it, forever guided by the whispers of the world's unseen magic. clock strikes midnight, and the distant whistle of a train echoes through the quiet night. A cool breeze drifts through the empty station, carrying the faint scent of lavender and dew. The platform, bathed in silver moonlight, feels like the gateway to another world, a place where time slows and dreams come alive. A lone traveler, eyes heavy with sleep, steps forward as the train arrives in perfect silence. Its sleek, midnight blue carriages shimmer under the stars, their windows glowing with a warm, golden light. The doors slide open with a soft sigh, inviting the traveler inside. The moment they step aboard, a wave of serenity washes over them. Plush seats, draped in velvety fabric, beckon for comfort. A gentle hum vibrates through the floor, blending with the rhythmic chug of the engine. The air carries a delicate scent of chamomile and honey, a promise of peaceful slumber. The train begins to move, gliding smoothly along its invisible path through the night. Outside the window, the world transforms into a blur of soft blues and grays, a dreamscape of rolling hills and silent rivers bathed in moonlight. The adventure has begun, a journey through the realm of rest and relaxation, where each stop promises a new layer of tranquility. The traveler sinks into their seat, eyelids growing heavier. The midnight train is more than a mode of travel. It is a passage into a world where dreams whisper, and the night cradles all who seek its comfort. The train slows as it nears its first destination, a vast, moonlit meadow stretching as far as the eye can see. The gentle chime of a bell signals the stop, though no voices break the soothing stillness. Outside, the tall grass sways in perfect harmony with the night breeze, rustling softly like a whispered lullaby. As the doors slide open, a wave of cool, fragrant air drifts into the carriage, carrying the scent of wild lavender and fresh earth. Fireflies flicker in the distance, their golden light weaving delicate patterns in the dark. The traveler steps onto the platform, their footsteps muffled by the soft ground beneath them. A narrow path winds through the meadow, glowing faintly under the silver moon. The wind hums a melody through the leaves of distant trees, as if nature itself is singing a song of rest. Each step feels lighter, the mind growing quieter, the body sinking deeper into relaxation. Somewhere nearby, a small brook trickles over smooth stones, its gentle murmur blending seamlessly with the whispers of the wind. Everything here moves in a slow, hypnotic rhythm, an invitation to breathe deeply, to let go, to surrender to the night's embrace. The train whistle sounds again, a soft reminder that the journey must continue. As the traveler steps back aboard, the meadow fades into the distance, but its peaceful presence lingers, a quiet promise that serenity is never far away. The train glides to a smooth stop, and the doors whisper open, revealing a breathtaking sight, a vast, still lake stretching beneath the star-strewn sky. Countless lanterns drift upon the water's surface, their golden glow reflecting like tiny suns in the rippling darkness. The air is thick with tranquility, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and mist. A wooden dock extends from the station, leading toward a small boat swaying gently at its edge. The traveler steps onto it, the soft creak of wood blending with the rhythmic lapping of water against the shore. As the boat drifts forward, lanterns bob lazily, casting flickering patterns upon the traveler's face. Above, the sky is endless and vast, its deep indigo expanse dotted with shimmering constellations. The world feels weightless here, no urgency, no noise, only the slow dance of light and water. The traveler dips a hand into the lake, feeling its cool embrace as tiny ripples spread outward, merging with the floating glow. Somewhere in the distance, a faint melody plays, a tune so delicate it seems woven from the night itself. Perhaps it is the wind, or perhaps it is the lake whispering its secrets to those who listen. Each breath is deeper, each thought softer, as the traveler surrenders to the stillness. A gentle chime signals the time to return. As the boat drifts back to the dock, the traveler steps once more onto the waiting train. The lake and its glowing lanterns slowly fade into the distance, but their peaceful radiance lingers, settling deep within, a quiet light that will shine even in dreams. The train glides higher, climbing into the night sky as mist swirls outside the windows. A soft chime announces the next stop, and as the doors slide open, a breathtaking sight unfolds, a bridge made of clouds, stretching endlessly through the stars. The traveler steps onto the platform, but there is no solid ground beneath their feet, only soft, billowing clouds that feel as light as silk. Each step sends a gentle ripple through the mist, yet the bridge remains steady, cradling them in its airy embrace. The sky around is a deep, endless blue, sprinkled with stars that shimmer like scattered diamonds. A cool breeze carries the scent of rain before a storm, fresh and pure. The air is weightless, wrapping the traveler in a cocoon of serenity. Far below, the world is hidden beneath a sea of mist, as if reality itself has dissolved into a dream. With each step, the bridge shifts and sways like a living thing. Yet there is no fear, only the quiet thrill of floating, of drifting between the heavens. Wisps of cloud twirl and dance, shaping themselves into gentle forms, a sleeping lion, a soaring bird, a resting child. It is as if the sky itself whispers lullabies through the ever-changing mist. A distant hum signals the train's departure. As the traveler steps back inside, the cloud bridge begins to fade, dissolving into the endless night. But its feeling remains lightness, calm, and the memory of walking among the stars, carried forward like a dream within a dream. As the train glides forward, the world outside begins to shift. The sky deepens into an ocean of indigo, its surface scattered with constellations that shimmer like lanterns in the darkness. A gentle chime signals the next stop, and when the doors slide open, a sight of celestial wonder unfolds. A tunnel woven entirely of stars. The traveler steps onto the platform, where the ground is soft and velvety, as if woven from the fabric of the night itself. Above, countless stars twinkle and swirl, forming intricate patterns that shift and dance with each breath. The air is cool and crisp, filled with the faint scent of evening jasmine. A soft voice echoes through the space, not from any one direction, but from everywhere at once. It is a storyteller's voice, gentle and steady, weaving tales of the universe, of ancient constellations, of distant galaxies, of the silent poetry written in the stars. The traveler listens, each word like a lullaby, each story a thread in the great tapestry of time. The path ahead glows faintly, lit by the constellations above. Some stars seem to dip lower, their light brushing against the traveler's skin like a whisper. Every step feels lighter, every thought quieter, as if the vastness of the cosmos is cradling the soul in perfect stillness. A final story is told, a tale of dreams carried by the stars, guiding wanderers to peaceful slumber. The train whistle sounds, a soft reminder that the journey must continue. As the traveler steps back aboard, the starry canopy fades into the distance, but its glow lingers, a reminder that the night is always watching, always whispering, always waiting to carry dreamers home. The train moves slower now, its rhythm softer, as if guiding its passengers into a place beyond time. A final chime echoes gently through the carriage, signaling the last stop. The doors slide open, revealing a misty landscape bathed in the glow of a silver moon. A winding path leads through a quiet village, where warm golden lights flicker from the windows of cozy cottages. The air is thick with tranquility, carrying the faint scent of lavender and chamomile. The traveler steps onto the soft ground, feeling a deep sense of comfort, as if this place has been waiting all along. Each home has an open door, inviting those who wander to rest within. The traveler walks past gardens where tiny lanterns sway in the breeze, their glow pulsing like a heartbeat in the night. A gentle hush fills the air, the kind that settles just before sleep fully takes hold. At the end of the path, a small wooden house stands beneath an ancient tree. Its windows are slightly open, and the softest lullaby drifts from within. traveler steps inside, greeted by a perfectly made bed wrapped in blankets light as clouds. The air is warm, safe, familiar. As the traveler lies down, the final whistle of the train sounds in the distance. But it is not a farewell, it is a promise. The midnight train will always be there, waiting beyond the edge of wakefulness, ready to carry dreamers through the peaceful landscapes of the night. The world fades. Silence settles. Sleep takes hold, and the journey into dreams begins. A faint warmth stirs in the air, like the first golden light of dawn brushing against closed eyelids. The world is quiet, wrapped in the final moments of slumber. Somewhere in the distance, the soft hum of the midnight train lingers, growing fainter with each passing breath. The traveler shifts slightly, feeling the comfort of familiar blankets, the gentle weight of rest still cradling the body. The scent of lavender and chamomile is but a whisper now, fading like a dream at the edge of wakefulness. The echoes of the journey, the whispering winds, the lantern-lit lake, the cloud bridge, and the starry canopy drift softly in the mind, like footprints dissolving in mist. A deep breath in, a slow exhale. The world beyond sleep begins to take shape, yet the peace of the midnight train lingers, wrapped around the traveler like a quiet melody. Eyes flutter open, met with the first light of morning spilling through the window. The journey may have ended, but its tranquility remains, woven into the heart like a secret lullaby. Somewhere, far beyond the waking world, the midnight train continues its journey through the quiet night, waiting for the next dreamer to board. sun hung low on the horizon, bleeding shades of amber and crimson across the vast, endless desert. The wind, gentle yet persistent, swept over the dunes, whispering secrets only the sands could understand. A lone traveler stood at the edge of this silent expanse, gazing at the untouched wilderness before them. Behind lay the world of noise, a place of endless movement, unspoken burdens, and voices that never ceased. The traveler had walked away from it all, drawn to the stillness of the desert, hoping to find something that had long been missing: peace. With each step forward, the familiar faded. The footprints in the sand vanished as quickly as they were made, as if the desert itself was erasing the past. There was no road to follow, no signs to guide the way. Only silence stretched before them, an invitation to surrender to solitude. The warm air carried a strange comfort, as if the desert itself was breathing, welcoming the traveler into its embrace. The weight of time melted away, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, there was no rush, no expectation, only the gentle whisper of the wind and the quiet hum of existence. The traveler took another step, then another. The journey into solitude had begun. The traveler pressed forward, leaving behind the last traces of the world once known. The desert stretched infinitely in every direction, its golden dunes rising and falling like frozen waves in a vast, silent ocean. With each step, the rhythm of the world slowed, matching the measured pace of the shifting sands. The sun, now dipping lower, cast long shadows that stretched across the dunes, painting the land in hues of fire and gold. The heat, once sharp, softened as the air cooled, bringing with it the scent of dry earth and ancient secrets. There were no walls here, no boundaries, only the vast openness, whispering its silent welcome. With the coming of twilight, the desert revealed its hidden beauty. Tiny specks of light flickered in the distance, perhaps distant fires of travelers unseen, or simply the illusions of the mind. The sky deepened into a canvas of indigo, and soon the first stars began to emerge, their glow steady and eternal. A sense of stillness settled within the traveler, a feeling unlike anything experienced before. The solitude did not bring loneliness, nor did the silence demand to be filled. Instead, it wrapped around like a gentle embrace, offering something rare and precious: an absence of noise, an escape from time itself. As the traveler lay upon the cool sand, staring at the endless sky above, a quiet understanding took root. The desert was not empty. It was alive, with stories carried in the wind, with wisdom buried beneath the dunes, with the quiet hum of existence echoing through the night. And so, beneath the vast expanse of stars, the traveler closed their eyes, surrendering to the desert's embrace. The night deepened, and the wind carried its voice across the dunes, a voice both ancient and eternal. It did not shout, nor did it demand. It whispered, soft as a sigh, weaving through the silence like an unseen storyteller. The traveler walked with careful steps, listening, though no words were spoken. The wind was alive, stirring the sands, shifting the landscape as it had for centuries. It moved like a patient hand, reshaping the dunes, erasing footprints, reminding that nothing in this world was meant to stay unchanged. Then came the echoes, faint, drifting through the air like memories left behind. Perhaps they were the voices of those who had wandered this desert before, seekers of solitude, dreamers of forgotten dreams. A nomad's prayer, a lost traveler's wish, the laughter of a child who once ran barefoot across the sands. They had all passed through, leaving no mark but their whispers, carried endlessly by the wind. The traveler paused atop a dune, eyes closed, letting the wind move through them. It spoke in ways beyond words, urging them to let go of burdens too heavy to carry, of worries as fleeting as the grains of sand slipping through their fingers. The desert did not ask for anything. It simply listened. And in its quiet listening, it taught the traveler the beauty of stillness, the power of silence, and the wisdom hidden in the space between thoughts. The traveler exhaled, the sound lost in the vast openness. The wind continued its journey, carrying whispers of the past, present, and future alike, as the desert stood witness to them all. The journey stretched on, measured not in distance, but in moments of silence and understanding. The traveler moved with the wind, no longer resisting the solitude, but embracing it. Then, as if the desert had chosen to reveal one of its rare gifts, an oasis shimmered in the distance, a vision so delicate that it seemed to waver between illusion and reality. Approaching cautiously, the traveler found the vision to be true. Slender palms stood like quiet guardians around a pool of still water, their leaves rustling softly in the desert breeze. The reflection upon the surface was clear, unbroken, a perfect mirror of the sky above. Kneeling beside the water, the traveler gazed at their own reflection. But it was not just a face staring back. It was a soul laid bare, stripped of the weight of past burdens, no longer bound by the noise of the world left behind. The desert had asked for nothing, yet it had given everything, a place to see oneself as they truly were dipping a hand into the water. The traveler watched as the ripples spread outward, distorting the reflection before settling once more into stillness. A quiet realization settled in. Life, like water, would always move and shift, but peace was found in learning to let it return to calm. Resting beneath the shade of the palms, the traveler allowed a rare sense of contentment to fill their heart. The desert had not been empty after all. It had been full of whispers of wisdom, of quiet truths waiting to be heard. And as the oasis glowed under the light of the stars, the traveler understood that solitude was not the absence of company, but the presence of self. The days had passed like grains of sand slipping through open fingers, unnoticed yet inevitable. The traveler stood at the edge of the final dune, gazing at the horizon where the desert met the world once left behind. The journey had not been about reaching a destination. It had been about listening, understanding, and becoming. The wind, ever present, whispered one last time, carrying the echoes of solitude and silence. It did not urge the traveler to stay, nor did it push them forward. The desert was indifferent to comings and goings. It simply existed, timeless and eternal. Looking back, the traveler saw no footprints, no sign of the path taken. The desert had erased them, as it always did, reminding that the past need not be carried forward. Yet, though the sands bore no mark of the journey, the traveler knew that something within had changed. With a deep breath, the traveler stepped beyond the dunes, feeling the weightless presence of the desert within. The silence, the wisdom, the peace, it would not be left behind. The desert's gift was not something to be held, but something to be carried in the heart. As the wind picked up once more, it seemed to murmur a final message. You are never alone. The quiet is always with you. And with that, the traveler walked forward, no longer seeking solitude, for they had found it where it mattered most, within themselves. The world greeted the traveler with its familiar noise, voices rising and falling, footsteps echoing on stone, the endless hum of restless movement. Yet something had changed. The noise no longer unsettled, nor did it demand to be filled. Beneath it all, the traveler could still hear the desert's whisper, soft and steady, like a quiet thread woven into the fabric of existence. At night, when the world slowed and the sky stretched wide, the traveler closed their eyes and listened. The silence was no longer emptiness but presence, an unseen companion, as vast and comforting as the desert itself. The lessons of the sands remained. Solitude was not loneliness. Stillness was not idleness. And silence was not absence, but a space where the soul could breathe. With each passing day, the traveler moved through life with a lighter heart, no longer searching for peace in distant places. The desert had given a gift that could never be lost. The understanding that true silence is not found in the world, it is carried within. night stretched across the heavens like a velvet tapestry, deep indigo kissed with silver. A full moon hung above, casting a gentle glow over the quiet world below. The stars shimmered like scattered diamonds, their soft twinkle mirroring the distant lapping of waves against the shore. A breeze, cool and delicate, drifted through the air, carrying with it the sweet fragrance of jasmine and the distant hum of a serenade yet to begin. Leaves rustled softly, whispering secrets only the night could understand, while the world seemed to slow, wrapped in the embrace of peaceful darkness. Somewhere in the distance, the gentle strum of a guitar and the first notes of a violin floated through the night, weaving a melody as soft as the moonlight itself. The air hummed with a quiet magic, as if time had paused to listen, inviting hearts to be still and souls to surrender to the serenity of the moment. This was no ordinary night. It was a night meant for dreams, for love, and for the kind of silence that speaks louder than words. Beneath the silver glow of the moon, two figures stood at the heart of a secluded garden, where nature had woven a sanctuary of peace. The air between them shimmered with quiet anticipation, as if the universe itself had conspired to bring them together in this sacred moment. Their eyes met, soft, searching, and full of unspoken words. Time had passed, seasons had changed, yet in this moment, it felt as though nothing had ever shifted between them. The warmth of familiarity wrapped around them like a gentle embrace, melting away the distance that once separated their hearts. A hesitant smile formed, followed by a whispered greeting, barely louder than the rustling leaves around them. Words were not needed. Everything was already understood in the way their fingers brushed against each other, in the way the moonlight traced their quiet longing. "I thought of this moment 1,000 times," one of them murmured, voice barely above the sigh of the wind. "And now it's here," the other replied, their voice laced with the tender certainty of homecoming. The melody from a distant violin drifted through the night, a song without words, yet heavy with meaning. It was as if the music itself had been waiting to accompany their reunion, setting the rhythm for hearts that once beat in harmony and would now find their way back to each other. The night cradled them in its quiet embrace as the first notes of a melody rose into the air, weaving through the garden like a whispered promise. Fingers traced the strings of a violin, or perhaps a guitar, releasing a tune that felt as though it had always belonged to this moment, soft, lingering, and filled with unspoken emotions. The music drifted through the air, carried by the night breeze, each note shimmering like the stars above. The melody spoke where words could not, painting memories of stolen glances, laughter shared in moonlit corners, and the quiet longing that had always lived between them. Eyes closed, breath slowed, and the world around them faded into the background. The gentle rhythm of the serenade seemed to echo the beating of their hearts, steady and sure. It was not just a song, it was a conversation, a love letter set to music, carrying the weight of feelings too delicate to be spoken aloud. The garden listened. The trees swayed in time. Even the ocean beyond the cliffs seemed to hush, as though the entire universe had paused to hear this moment unfold. And as the final note lingered in the air before dissolving into the night, a soft sigh escaped, a silent acknowledgement of the magic that had just been created, the kind of magic that could only be born under the watchful eyes of the moon. The violin's melody soared, slow and graceful, weaving through the air like a gentle breeze. The two lovers, drawn by the music and the moment, moved closer, their hands finding each other as though guided by an unseen force. Barefoot on the soft grass, the earth beneath them felt like a silent witness to their reunion, steady and grounding. Without a word, they began to sway, their movements slow and fluid, as if they had danced together in another lifetime. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, casting a soft, ethereal light that kissed their faces and reflected in their eyes. The world around them faded away, leaving only the two of them, their hearts beating in quiet rhythm with the music that filled the night. The music wrapped around them, its soft strains pulling them closer, their bodies moving in perfect harmony, lost in the quiet beauty of the moment. A soft laugh escaped, light and carefree, mingling with the tender notes that surrounded them, as if the night itself had become a part of their joy. The moon, high above, watched over them with a serene gaze, casting its silver light like a blessing upon their union. In this perfect stillness, the outside world seemed to disappear. There was only the music, the stars, and the warmth of their embrace. The dance was a silent conversation, a gentle exchange of everything words could not capture: love, longing, connection. It was as if the heavens themselves were participating in their dance, every star a witness to the beauty of this moment. As the music softened into a distant echo, the lovers, still locked in each other's arms, slowly sank to the blanket beneath them, the cool grass brushing their skin. The moonlight seemed to wrap around them like a protective shroud, casting a serene glow that made the night feel like a dream itself. The stars above continued their silent watch, twinkling gently, as if guiding them into the peaceful embrace of sleep. With a deep breath, one of them laid their head on the other's chest, listening to the steady rhythm of a heart that beat in time with their own. The world had quieted. There were no more thoughts, no more worries, only the sweet comfort of this shared silence. A soft sigh escaped, a peaceful surrender to the serenity of the moment. The gentle night breeze caressed their faces as the scent of jasmine lingered in the air, soothing and sweet. The distant hum of the waves and the faint rustle of leaves were like a lullaby, each note guiding them closer to sleep. The soft melody of the violin, now a distant memory, lingered in the air, its quiet rhythm blending with the natural sounds of the night, creating a peaceful symphony that carried them deeper into relaxation. Their hands, still intertwined, rested between them as they drifted slowly toward slumber. There was no rush, no need to move or speak. The world had paused just for them, and in this perfect stillness, they allowed themselves to surrender to the comfort of the night. The last words whispered between them were a soft promise, not of tomorrow, but of this moment, this love that was timeless and unspoken. And as their breaths grew deeper, their minds quieted, and the moonlight above seemed to smile down upon them. They drifted into the embrace of peaceful sleep, where dreams were as gentle and eternal as the stars. As the soft embrace of sleep took hold, the lovers remained entwined under the watchful gaze of the moon, their hearts quiet but full. The world around them had faded into a dreamscape of serenity, where time seemed to stretch beyond its usual confines. In the stillness of the night, the last thought, like a delicate whisper, floated through their minds, a silent acknowledgement that this moment, this love, was something eternal. This love is as endless as the stars above, one of them thought, the words soft but resonant, like the final note of a beautiful song. It was a truth spoken without sound, a promise written in the constellations, a connection woven through time and space. The air seemed to hold this unspoken truth, wrapping it gently around their souls as the soft glow of moonlight bathed them in its quiet, eternal light. The serenity of the moment lingered like a gentle caress, soothing and unhurried. The night had become their canvas, the stars their witnesses, and their love a song written in the silence of the cosmos. And with that, the last breath of the serenade, the final, quiet whisper faded into the night, merging with the breeze and the stars, carrying their promise into the realm of dreams.